Alright, man. It's time to prove the fucking obvious here. Shanks versus Mihawk. Let me ask you something. Let me sure you all can see this. Alright. Let me ask you something. What do you see here? Hawkeye's Mihawk, former warlord of the sea, with greater sword skill than even the red-haired emperor. As the strongest swordsman, he is worth 3.9 million berries, 3.5 million berries, billion berries. My bad. Yep. What do you see here at the very beginning of the story? World's strongest swordsman, Hawkeye's Mihawk. What do you see here? Further later, after the time skip, the world's strongest swordsman, Warlord of the Sea. What do you see here? He's the world's strongest swordsman, who sits at the top of the strongest of all swordsmen. What do you think that title implies? That he's the most skilled? Or he's just the raw power? He is the strongest. He looks forward to a day where a swords master will emerge to surpass even his rival, Shanks. What do you think that implies? Just from his favorite card alone. What do you think that implies? Oh, Shanks is not a swordsman, you say? Even though it's not even that's just implied here that he's a swords master, like who he's waiting for. If you follow grammar, of course, which Shanks fans may not. Look at this. Look at that shit. Shanks is described with this lettering right here, this kanji, known as Sword Expert, Sword Master. A title even greater than just swordsman. And of course, this is film red promos, but that does not change the fact that he is known by the publication team here, known by the people who work on the show, as a swordsman. That's not even all. Let me see where it is. Okay, here we go. A surprisingly good swordsman. Swordsman. This is from Databook Red, I'm pretty sure. Look at this. Of course he's a fucking swordsman. All he uses is a sword. That's how he channels Sasaki. That's how he channels his power. Just like Luffy does with his fist. Just like how Garp channels his power with his fist. Just like how, I don't know, Kaido does with his body and his club. Just like how everybody who uses a sword, yes, even Goldie Roger uses it with their sword, making them swordsmen. You have people like Big Mom. You can be more challenging with Big Mom because swordsmen rely pretty much primarily on their sword, whereas Big Mom can fight with her homies. She also fights with her fists, on top of her using her sword, which is just one of her abilities. I mean, you never see Shanks fight without a sword. What else can Shanks fight with? Like, he could probably use a gun or some shit like going on. Even Luffy's used a sword. Is he a swordsman? Ignore that. Ignore that. Wait, hold up. Hold on, where was it? Here we go. Oh, you're gonna love this one. Look at this shit right here. The world's most powerful swordsman. This is in the manga extra you see when you open every single chapter. You see this all the time too. This is just like through every single arc that Mihawk's in. Even if it's, after time skip, like when he's training Zoro and shit. It's the same thing. The world's most powerful swordsman is always reiterated. Powerful too. Look. Powerful. Does powerful mean skilled in any way? Now look at this. Exactly. Shanks once had the ability. This is also from Databook Red, by the way. Shanks once had the ability to compete with the best swordsman in the world or rival him. Other translations say he used to be as powerful. Now he's obviously weaker by definition. So this is Databook Red confirming Shanks is weaker than Mihawk. Vivre card already implied it, as does the manga itself. I mean, obviously, if you're waiting for someone to surpass Shanks, that means Shanks cannot interest you. So at the very least, the manga implies that he's relative, but obviously with his title and with databooks like these, he is stronger. Alright, look at this. Official. You can even read this shit for yourself. This is official from Oda himself. He made the sketch, the author himself. He made the sketch right here. What do you see here? You see Zoro, you see Mihawk, you see Law, you see Ray Lee, you see Roger. I don't know what the fuck he's doing in the back here. You see Roger, you see Vista, you see Shiryu. This guy. And what do they all have in common? What's that over there? Swordsman. What's this translated? The swordsman line up, getting cut by them hurts. This, you know what I mean. Look at all that. Look, he's even stronger than this guy by definition, which I don't think anyone's arguing that, to be honest. What's this one? Ooh, he sits atop as the strongest, gazing down on his prey. The world's strongest swordsman. Again, that doesn't sound like just most skilled. He rose to renown even before, okay? What was this? Yeah, in both name and actuality. Did you see this? Yeah, not only did the guy that's already helped you describe him as the world's strongest, his title is consistently displayed here as fact. The world's strongest swordsman. It's not just his title at this point. It's literally the manga just telling you flat out he's the fucking strongest. Narratively, it makes no sense for it to be a false title either. I mean, why would Zoro end up endgame fighting Mihawk, and then somehow it turns out Shanks was just as strong as all along? Big ol' flip out of the trip. Shanks let him keep this fucking title. Because he knows he can't take it back. He's fought him already. He's like, alright, I admit it, you're the strongest. Shanks would have definitely been able to take it back if he wanted to. Nor can anyone else in the show. Because no swordsman that was in One Piece right now can best them. Where's the other one? I have one more. Yeah, it was here. Vista has the skills to compete with Mihawk, one of the most famous swordsmen in the world. He wasn't afraid to confront him despite knowing Mihawk was the strongest. The strongest. I don't know if you want to say this means the strongest just between the two of them. Probably just means strongest in terms of swordsmen in general. Even implied with this line here. Vista showed his swordsmanship, which is equal or superior to Mihawk's in this fight. Now, when it comes to this is blatantly saying that Vista's skill is comparable to Mihawk, and that's something that you can definitely say is the case. I mean, Vista used to be a swordsman, a very high-tier swordsman with Whitebeard, even when Shanks was a kid on Roger's crew. Shanks is powerful, but power doesn't equate to skill, and you can easily argue that he doesn't have all that much skill with a sword, at least compared to Vista and Mihawk, who, even if you want to say this only means, this part right here only means sword skill, that just means he's stronger and he's more skilled. So that's just fucking even worse. Now, when it comes to the, When it comes to the fight with him and Vista in general, clearly Mihawk does not want to fight him here. He's like, you're too much for me, Vista. Please let me go. Oh, fuck. Ignore that. You get the point. He says, let's do this another time, and Vista's like, alright. Clearly because he wants a more fair fight with Vista, not in the middle of a random battlefield. And he's been suppressed the whole fucking time. That's the only explanation that makes sense, because it's definitely better than, oh, Mihawk ends up somehow being Vista level. Let me put it like this. Mihawk not only uses no special attack during the fucking arc, he also has the most deadpan expression of just about anybody, even the admirals. When the admirals started using more power, at least maybe not Kizaru, that guy's ASL, but when the admirals started using more power, they had like serious kind of like messed up expressions, especially Akainu when it went up against Whitebeard. And obviously he had the most intense fight out of anyone else who fought Whitebeard because he actually used the most power, but regardless. And Mihawk showed none of that. The most casual slash he used against Whitebeard to test their strength. Keep in mind, this is not the Whitebeard he knew the fucking prime Whitebeard, not this old dying sick man. So obviously he's going to probably fucking tone it down a bit. When he slashes Whitebeard, Marines call it the world's strongest slash. Obviously it isn't, but they call it that because it's coming from the world's strongest swordsman, clearly indicating it's about raw power. That his slash is the strongest in terms of power because you can't equate that to skill. If it's the strongest because he has the most power. Same thing with his blade being called the world's strongest blade because it's wielded by the strongest swords. Well, not because of that, but it goes with him being the strongest in general, in power-wise. So this is, and see this part here? He showed his swordsmanship which is equal or superior to Mihawk's in this fight. In this fight, not in general, but in this fight. You're telling me that Vista should be relative to Gear 2 Luffy? Gear 2 Luffy was even making Mihawk. He was dodging Mihawk and shit. And fucking Mihawk even said this power knows no restraint, which is one thing people try to say that he wasn't going all out. He was going all out. He clearly fucking wasn't. Especially not if he's stronger or did pretty much as good as Vista, who should be way stronger than Gear 2 Luffy. You get the point? He clearly wasn't fucking going all out. My power knows no restraint. My ass. He's just probably saying that because he's gonna kill Luffy if Luffy was dumb enough. Which he actually was. He's gonna cut off his arms. He did that weird shit that people are like, oh, he gave him future sight. I don't know what you want to call that. But anyways, I don't think there's... You see what I mean? The manga extra, they consistently say this shit. I don't know what the hell this muggy kingdom. Anyways, you get the point. Look at this, by the way. SBS, Legends Among Men, Whitebeard, Shanks, Mihawk. What the hell's Mihawk doing here? You're telling me he's on this? Yes, he is. You get the point? He's on that level, Yonko level. Just because he's stronger than Shanks. It's just clearly implied here. I don't know what the rest of this says. This is basically the stuff I've already showed you. You get the point. You get the point. Swords, you get the point. Yeah, see? Swords Master. Because Swords Master is basically synonymous term with swordsman, so. Anyways, that's about it for that. Mihawk versus Shanks, dumb debate to be honest. Look at Odin, by the way. We know Odin's a swordsman, right? You know that, right? Where is it? Look at... If I can find it, at least. Look at this, first of all. Something's coming. Something's dangerous. Devious. Something that can pose a threat to Prime Whitebeard and make him worry. Something that can make him struggle to hold Odin back, and we don't get that bullshit anime scene of him one-shotting him. Which, I mean, he fucking did a full power Quake Punch. That they didn't even really incapacitate Odin for more than like 2 seconds. It's already a better feat than Akainu by far. Odin just has a lot of durability feats that are similar to others, but just on a way better level. For example, being able to tank Roger's Kamusari attack while he wasn't even at full strength. With only like a little bit of blood, he didn't even know Roger was that strong, so you can argue he wasn't tanking at full force. And he was right back to show Roger who's shit until Whitebeard came. And then obviously he was surprised at like their use of advanced Conqueror's Haki. I don't think he got it until he completed his voyage, where it's stated, even here I think, he got many times stronger than when he'd left the first time, at least. What was I gonna say? But you can also argue maybe you did know it, we just didn't know that you could do that type of shit, because let's be honest, nobody in Wano knew what that was. Nobody even knew what the hell fucking Conquerors was, let alone being able to advanced application, how it worked. But regardless, let's just say he got after the thing. Returning many times stronger, invincible and triumphant. You know what invincible means? It means you can't be beat. And of course he did get beat, but we'll talk about that in a second. Well, where's the other one I had? It is here somewhere, but... Yeah, you get the point. Look at this. It just looked like he was so surprised. Come on now. There we go. Okay, finally I found it. Look at this V-Ray card. Look at this is his V-Ray card. Look what it translates to. Oh shit, I didn't get the Oh fuck. Alright, I'll tell you what it translates to and you have to take my word for it. This part right here. This little passage. Odin's strongest swordsmanship, his pride was not unfounded, something like that. It basically says he has the strongest swordsmanship and that his pride, he wasn't wrong in that assumption. I think the word is like his pride wasn't unfounded. Basically just means he wasn't wrong because he was able to inflict such a large blow on Kaido. And now, this would mean that his Swordsmanship is obviously stronger than anybody else. Whether that means Roger or Primary Lee, who's the only one of the two who's actually alive at the time, that would mean he's above Primary Lee, who should already be such a high level. So I don't think that's a really big difference. And for him to have been above, he even calls his swordsmanship style the greatest in the manga. Whether you think that that means that in terms of just how it can be used as a technique, or in just terms of his raw strength, he's grown it so that it's better than anyone else's, which would include Roger, because Roger is a swordsman, and although it's not great, he still has a swordsman style technique, you know? That also probably mean that from his judgment he's more skilled than anyone else, if you want to say it means skill, but I mean it is kind of a boast. But here it says literally, in terms of raw power, he is the strongest with his style. And that he has reason to believe that. He was able to inflict such a large blow on Kaido, and to be fair, it is a little weird because I don't think that someone like Whitebeard couldn't have done this too. But you get what the guy is trying to imply here. He had the strongest swordsmanship that we have ever seen. Especially compared to someone like Zoro, who could barely control, and he never did fully master it, by the way, just so you know, who could barely control Odin's sword that the man has used since he was like 10 years old. You remember that flashback we got to saw of him raiding the Yakuza at like 10 years old? Yeah, he was wielding it there. He was wielding it there at 10 years old, already showing a better fucking hockey control than Zoro was right now. It's crazy. He's hyped up as a child to be an absolute beast, just like any other Yonko. Look at this part. His power surpassed Kaido's imagination, and you think he was so much weaker. He only fucking got this bruised up along the way since he had to fight like a billion of Kaido's men, including these two, and tanked his Boro breath as well. All of that low diff. Not even Roger or Whitebeard can tank that so easily. I also don't even believe Kaido got all that weaker. He still thinks Odin is on a level that he could beat him, or at least fight with him. And the only statements that really say that he got stronger, kind of like, they're not very direct about it, let's just say that. But, or at least what it means for him to have grown stronger. Whether it's him or his entire crew. But the point is that he did not grow much stronger, and I don't see any precedent for that. There's evidence to suggest otherwise. And Odin, over here, what else do I have here? Let me see something real quick. Look at this too. Look at another one of Odin's claims. Let me see if I can find it. Toki, I've reached my limit. If I fail to defeat him, there will be no others who can stop Kaido for a long time. Now, obviously, he doesn't know Kaido's power yet. So he's basing this off of himself. Now, who does he refer to? Could he be referring to Ray Lee and the rest of the Roger pirates besides Roger himself? Because obviously he knows he's dead at this point, I'm pretty sure. What was I going to say? Flip. Does he also mean Whitebeard? Because after all, he didn't even say proper goodbye to Whitebeard. Whitebeard might come back for him. He should definitely know that by now. Yet he still doesn't think that despite that, for a long time, no one will be able to defeat him. That is crazy. It's fucking... Yeah, let me just look at the context of this. But yeah, Odin was clearly hyped up by Kaido, especially in that flashback where he saw those 5 people, etc. And he was talking to this guy, where I was like, you wouldn't be able to do shit. Odin would definitely be able to do way better. Implying that Odin could still beat Kaido, or at least damage Kaido like he did here, if he fought him again. Implying that, unless you think Odin was leagues above Kaido here, which, you could definitely be, I don't think even Prime Whitebeard is leagues and leagues above current Kaido, so he wouldn't be leagues and leagues above old Kaido either. You get what I mean? A younger Kaido, technically. You get the point? Odin was strong as shit. He really was. Do I have anything else here to show you? I do not believe I do. This is just different translation of what I'd already shown you. Now, obviously, this a point that I had right here was much more contentious than the Mihawk versus Shanks, but I mean, that's just my opinion. You can disagree if you want. Because I even acknowledge it myself. There's a lot of interpretation you have to put here, but I think it's pretty likely, with some of the more concrete evidence that you can put here, that Odin's very fucking strong. He is very fucking strong. I don't, at least definitely stronger than any commander. Do you think? You think Marco is gonna do this even now? You think King even now could do this? Zoro maybe, but come on now. Zoro could barely open the old scar. I don't think he's opening like a whole new one. And he had to do Ashura to do that. That's his strongest technique. Maybe in his strongest technique. But definitely not, for example, the shit he was using on King. Definitely not. But anyway. There's only one more that I think we should go through in regards to this one. In regards to my opinions. And I think it's... Let me see if I got it here. Yeah. Alright, we got it here. Kaido versus Shanks. Who is stronger? The strongest creature or the red hair? Alright. Let's do this. Let's start with this. And thanks to Andrew Shanks taking your shit. I had some of this already, but you just put it all in nice one place. So. Chapter 996, The Island of the Strongest. Doesn't even say the strongest creature or anything. It just says the strongest in general. That's one thing a lot of people think. It's always strongest creature. No. It's just strongest in general. And look at this. Well, they have other examples, but let me show you. This is in the same chapter. Obviously, it's not talking about this fat ass. Cover pages don't have anything to do with this anyway. This is the same chapter as this. Same crew that's Yonko obsessed and knows a lot about Shanks specifically. Our opponent is the strongest pirate in the world. Come on now. Look at this part here while he's talking to Luffy. There's no one in this world capable of taking me down. So you're telling me despite whatever happened at Marineford, you're telling me Shanks beat this guy's ass at Marineford, yet he still thinks this? I don't think he's a liar to say that. Come on now, Kaido's honorable. He doesn't like when people interrupt his fights. You get the point? He wouldn't like saying some shit like that. Yeah, he still does. Shanks stopping Kaido was some huge fucking assumption anyway. We don't know anything about what they did. For all we know, Kaido just got demotivated. Maybe Shanks fucking brought him some drinks. Maybe he thought that if he fought Shanks, then tried to fight Whitebeard, he'd be too weak for it to be a fun fight. Because they're definitely relative. I mean, look for example here at the Ace novel. Look what they say about every single Yonko. Actually, no, this is not the one. But they basically say if every Yonko were to fight, if like Big Mom fight Whitebeard or Shanks fight Kaido, they would be left vulnerable to the others. So they're definitely relative. They're portrayed as such in the fucking source material anyway. Let's look at some more real quick. Yeah, not that. Look at this. Strongest creature. So yeah, strongest creature. We'll talk about that in a second. Strongest man. This one, I have no idea where this comes from. Fucking Oda sketch of Wano. You dig into this. I don't know where this comes from. This one translated as strongest in history. I think this is probably just a mistranslation. Or just fake in general. Kaido is portrayed as on the level of an old Whitebeard. I don't think him or Shanks, because of that, have surpassed Roger. Especially when they haven't shown any showings of that. New generation surpassing the old isn't a very good argument when Shanks isn't on Roger's footsteps right now. Besides, it's meant for this generation, obviously. Let's make it more obvious here. So we don't know what the hell happened. One second. We don't know what the hell happened here. So we can't say shit for that. So yeah, more strongest creature shit. Now, the thing is, I think there's even more. Wait, hold on. There's more if you look into it about strongest creature. But Think about it. Creatures in One Piece are mainly the strongest creature among all living things. Come on. Clearly, all living things is supposed to be more than just animals and shit. And his title just being because of his natural endurance. Kaido's scary enough with his existence. You get the point. Kaido and Shanks pulling, yeah. Anyways, I'm just reading some of the shit myself because I didn't even see it. But you get the point here, anyways. The thing is, Kaido, and even the emperors in some chapters, are described as creatures because they're all inhumane. Characters in One Piece, even if human, were able to do the kind of shit that top tiers are able to do, like split the sky. As described, they're described as creatures. Odin and shit being described as monsters too. Monsters also basically having the same definition as creature. It's a pretty cool photo, not gonna lie. You get the point, right? You get the fucking point. Kaido was even said in like the SBS and shit, when Oda was trying to think of the strongest in the verse, he's like, "Whoa, you think your mom's so fucking strong? Is she even stronger than Kaido? If she's stronger than Kaido, no one else can be her." Literally, the only person that might be exempt from Kaido's title are the unknown characters like Imu and the Gorosei. So, however you want to interpret how strong, they will be, but a known character like Shanks should not be exempt from that. A very known character too. He's emperor. I wonder what this guy said. No one knows. It doesn't matter. But you get the point. That should be pretty obvious in my opinion. So many say either strongest creature, strongest person, strongest in general. I think one main thing that deters people from Kaido being above Shanks is Luffy. Luffy beat Kaido. Luffy above Shanks. I mean, it could be. I'm just gonna fucking go with the evidence. Who knows what Oda has planned for us? Narratively, it doesn't make sense to people because of how much they want Shanks to be this fucking ultra omega beast. But who knows? Maybe he's just not meant to be that guy. At the very least, Luffy's gonna have a tough fight with him as he is now. But you could also argue that Shanks would win because Luffy doesn't have much stamina. Or you can be like me, who also thinks that Luffy isn't stronger than Kaido. When it gets to Luffy versus Kaido debate, mostly what is thrown out is just determining how winded or fucking handicapped the other person was. Kaido was drunk, he wasn't going all out, he doesn't care about Luffy, he doesn't go all out against him. He had damage from Zoro, Yamato, he was lifting up a fucking island. Oh, but he wasn't doing that much damage, he didn't get a lot of damage. The island wasn't taking energy out of him. Luffy got killed 3 times, he healed, he had breaks, he had no stamina, all that kind of shit thrown around. I don't really think it matters. I think Kaido is just meant to be more deterred, handicapped in the fight either way. You don't have to put some mathematic scale to determine how winded the other person was. That's at least a counter to that narrative argument if you want to be like that. Luffy's weaker than Kaido, and he's going to also be weaker than Shanks as a result. You get the point. I mean, to be fair, Kaido could have dodged that last attack, so I can't say that. I mean, to be fair, he could have dodged, but Luffy also didn't seem to give a crap about making it fast. It's kind of like a spirit bomb, you know what I mean? Goku obviously knows Frieza could have killed him 10 times over by the time he charged that, but he still tried it anyway as a finisher. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I just want to make a quick video about those 3 points.